This is one of the most important placements from the results, how you use your power of analysis, your analytical ability, the use of intellect in today's time, especially depending on which house Mercury is placed from Rahu. Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan. Once more with you from your very own channel, Astro Assurance. We have been doing this series of planets from planets, and in that series we have completed the placement of different planets from moon, because from moon placement of planets give you different denotations of how your mental capacity works, how your emotions work, your empathy works, and moon is the most important. The man is how your mind works. After moon, the placement of Rahu becomes very important, because Rahu is the planet of today's time, the Kala Yuga, and so the placement of different planets from Rahu are also important, or is very important, and hence we have already started the second series, which is planets, each of the planets in different houses from Rahu. In that series we have already completed the placement of Saturn from Rahu, Jupiter from Rahu, and today we are doing this particular specific placement of Mercury in different houses from Rahu. Now, why is the placement of Mercury from Rahu very important? Because Mercury is the planet of analysis, analytical ability, your intellectual capability, your intellectual capacity. Today's time we are less emotional people, we are more logical, practical people. We look at relationships also in the light of, under the focus of practicality, and how whether this person of this particular decision that we are taking, or this relationship, is logical, practical, and will also serve us in the long run. And so the placement of Mercury in different houses from Rahu becomes very, very important. So in that light, let's jump in and see how Mercury's placement in different houses from Rahu in your horoscope manifests different results for us, different potentials for us, different possibilities for us. Now, when Mercury is in the first house from Rahu, or conjunct with Rahu, or placed with Rahu, in whichever house it is. So here, what is Rahu? Rahu is your hunger, how you work or think out of boundaries, your attractions, your worldly attachments, on looks, on attraction, materialistic gains, the karma for this life, your shrewdness, your tact, your intellectual capacity to go beyond the means of orthodox decision making. Whereas on the other hand, Mercury is a planet of analysis, practicality, logic, thoughtful decision, communication, perfection, your skills, your logical perspective, and so on. So when Mercury and Rahu combine, so on one side, Rahu's capacity of intellect, looking beyond the boundaries, using unusual means, get conjunct with or combines its energies with the decision making, rational approach, negotiation ability, the analysis of Mercury. So this is a very potent combination, especially in today's time, because this gives you not only the power of analysis, logic, practicality, decision making, this also makes you communication, or your communication, very, very apt, very, very particular for a particular situation or in a certain situation. And so very many times these people are very innovative, very quick on their feet when they need to respond, very witty. They will be able to analyze the situation, they will be able to analyze people quickly and respond quickly, take decisions quickly. But very seldom will their decision making not be logical, not be practical, and in fact behind the scenes or at the back of their minds they will also be very quickly analyzing what's in it for me, what's in it for the other person, what will keep the relationship going, how can I manage this decision, how can I manage this relation, how can I manage the project that we're working on. So very, very clever person, very wise person, if you are able to manage the intellectual capacity of Mercury and are able to curtail the higher hunger or greed of Rahu. So very, very potent combination. But on the flip side, this can also give you sudden decision making, where you can also be a little complaining, critiquing, somebody who finds faults in nitty-gritty of issues, unnecessary complicated situations, also overthink situations, overanalyze the situation, and because of which decision making is also affected. So if you have Mercury and Rahu together in the horoscope, be sure or ensure that you use it for more practical, logical means and are able to curtail the energies of Rahu, rather than overshoot how you are able to use your intellectual capability, not only for your benefit but also the benefit of your friends, your family and your work. Now when Mercury goes in the second house from Rahu, now what is the second house from any house? The second house from any house is also your values, your integrity, how you are treating your dependents, your community, how you get your earnings, how you are making your livelihood, how you are able to make your savings, how the nourishment is made possible. But it is also because of the placement of Mercury in the second house from Rahu, Rahu's capability of looking beyond the means, materialistic needs, tact, unusual means, unusual effort also comes to the forefront. The person uses these capabilities of Rahu to then use the intellectual capability of Mercury, the practical ability of Mercury to then make their money, to then get their nourishment, to be then able to make their earnings and then also to focus on livelihood. So this is a person who is a clever thinking person, a very intellectual person, a person who's wise in their decision making, where livelihood is concerned, where their savings is concerned, where their earnings are concerned. However, sometimes in certain situations, because Mercury is second from Rahu, these people can also push the boundaries of integrity and sometimes think that, okay, if I need to bend the finger a little bit to be able to extract the benefits or to be able to twist integrity or moral ethics to a little extent, I don't mind, as long as I'm able to get the benefits out of that situation. So be a little careful when Mercury goes second from Rahu. This is a very, very potent combination for livelihood, for earnings, to be able to also use your communication skills and your integrity and your values to be able to expand the power of your earnings, what you are able to keep or increase in the bank. However, be a little careful not to push the boundaries of integrity too much, because while on one hand this can give you a good livelihood, this can also make you more money, but sometimes this can also leave you a certain degree of tightness in the chest where your conscience is also pricking you. Now when Mercury goes third from Rahu, this is a placement where any planet, when it goes from the third house from the other, then it uses the energy of the planet which it is third from in enhancing its ability to communicate, to be able to put in the effort, to be able to influence others, to be able to market according to the energy of the planet, to be able to use the branding using the energy of that particular planet. So when Mercury goes third from Rahu, Mercury uses the energy of Rahu to be able to bring that influence of Rahu in its communication, in its effort, in its ability to be able to influence others, to be able to brand itself, to be able to market the person, their own services, their own value that they bring to the table. So because Rahu is a planet of unusual means, shrewdness, tact, unusual effort, unorthodox decision making, innovation, but also materialism, so Mercury uses these qualities of Rahu to then use the practicality, the logic, the decision making, the communication, the service orientation that Mercury brings in, the logical perspective that Mercury brings in, using the innovation, the hunger, the greed of Rahu to then enhance the communication, to be able to use that particular combination in effort, in self-effort, in influencing people, in branding what they bring to the table, what their services are, what their products are. So this is a potent combination. In today's time, this can be very good in marketing, in media, in being somebody on the social media also, where you can be very, very innovative in how you communicate, how you brand, how you are able to showcase yourself, how you are able to demonstrate yourself, and then make gains out of it, then be able to make more advantage out of it also, even over others. So this is a good placement to start something of your own also, and to be able to use your communication skills to your advantage. However, sometimes this can also force you or force the person to use alternate means or alternate facts, or push the boundaries of what is right, what are the facts, a little bit. Like a lot of times in the media today, we see that they twist and turn facts to be able to cater to a certain degree of their viewership and then try to keep them happy. So sometimes with this placement, you may be pushing the boundaries of ethical communication, ethical enterprise, ethical means of effort also. So be careful how you use it to your advantage, because this can be very materialistically good a placement. However, on the other hand, this can also get you caught in a bind where you're not able to keep all the points covered, all the aspects of covered, sometimes your lies covered as well. Now when Mercury goes forth from Rahu, what is the fourth house from any house? It is the ability of the planet forth from the other planet to use the energy of the planet in terms of how you are able to create assets, how you are able to create the peace, the happiness, the tranquility, how you are able to bring in the emotions connected to that planet, use the energy of the planet to be able to enhance your life's conveniences. So when Mercury goes forth from Rahu, Mercury uses the energies of Rahu. Now Rahu on one side is the planet or the energy of shrewdness, tact, unusual means, unusual effort, unorthodox relations, unorthodox decision making, very high degree of materialism, especially in today's time. So Mercury uses all these energies of Rahu and combines with its practicality, logic, thought through decision making, educated decision making, and bringing the educated, logical, informed decision making, tries to create assets, tries to create the peace and happiness at home in the domestic life, and through that ability of combining the communication, tact, tries to create assets, also tries to get all the conveniences of life. So sometimes the person may use a little white lies to keep peace at home, to keep the spouse happy, to ensure that the domestic life is running smooth and not too many ups and downs are happening there. However, this can also make the person push the boundaries a little bit to make assets. While this position is strong in itself and it can over a period of time get you assets, get you conveniences, sometimes the person in a hurry because of the hunger and greed of Rahu can push the boundaries of ethical conduct just to make assets, just to get more comforts of life, just to get life's more conveniences. So if you have Rahu, if you have Mercury forth from Rahu, be a little careful. The assets will come, the material success will come because of your innovative ability, your your ability to put effort in the right direction and to be able to innovate. However, be careful of not to push the boundaries of ethical conduct too much where you make assets, because this can then backfire the peace, tranquility and happiness in your domestic life. Now when Mercury goes fifth from Rahu, what is the fifth house from any planet? The planet which is fifth from any house or any other planet will create an opportunity of using or extracting the energy of that planet in their education, in their romance, in their interest, in their finance, in their speculative investments, in the upheavals also. Fifth from a house means it is the 8th from the 10th from that particular planet. So when Mercury goes in the fifth house from Rahu, Mercury is the planet of intellect, and Rahu's energy of worldly attachments, worldly attractions, unusual means, unusual efforts, unorthodox relations. So sometimes this can make a person be too logical in their romance, too logical in their interests, in what they like. So a person may also cultivate their likeness towards those things which can bring them more success, bring them more gains. So Rahu makes or misleads or takes the person on a tangent where somebody wants to get into a relationship, but with people who are very good looking, who are very flamboyant and who have an outwardly worldly attraction rather than inwardly, those people may be very good. So many times you may fall short of trying to analyze the person or actually knowing the true sense of the person very well, and you are taken in by the outward worldly appearances, and so many times you get into the wrong romances, you get into the wrong relations because of the outwardly looks, outwardly flamboyance, sexiness, manliness, whatever. And it's like getting in a relationship with a bad boy or a bad girl, or maybe whatever that means, and then realizing after a period of time that this is not what works for me, and then so going through 2 or 3 relations churns before you realize that it is not working. I need to be more wise where relationships are concerned. And the same thing where your investments are concerned, where how your financial perspective is concerned, how you make your changes in your job or you use the opportunities of changes in your career. perspective to how Rahu is influencing your decision making. So if you have Mercury 5th Ram Rahu, this is one of the very strong gain making placements which can get you a lot of good relations, which means with flamboyant, good looking people, and something of those relations which can also add a feather to your cap, some wins. But at the same time it can also get you good financial gains, good opportunity for some big breakthroughs also in your career. But be careful sometimes where this placement can also mislead you in going on the wrong tangent, going in the wrong direction. Now when Mercury is in the 6th house from Rahu, what is the 6th house from any other planet? When a planet gets placed from the 6th house from any other planet, then this increases the ability of the planet which it is 6th from. So here it increases the ability of Mercury to be able to use the energy of Rahu for the 6th house capabilities like service, competition, how you handle debts, how you handle your loans, how you handle your court cases, whether you get into court cases, challenges, problems, ability to be able to keep away inimical forces, keep away competition and all that. However, because Rahu is a planet of shrewdness, tact, unusual means, unusual effort, and Mercury is a planet of logic, practicality, decision making, communication. So Mercury uses shrewdness influenced, unusual means influence, unusual effort influence, unorthodox relations and decision making to be able to serve, to be able to overcome competition, to be able to handle challenges, to be able to handle those people who are inimical to these people, inimical forces acting in front of you or even behind your back. Sometimes it can also make you using Rahu's conniving energy to be able to push somebody away or to overcome competition. So it is like, okay, any means that I can to keep away the competition is fair enough, is good enough, I can do that. So sometimes it can make you also a little bit conniving or also overthinking about competition. But this is the good placement where over a period of time you learn how to keep the competition away and score over competition. However, on the flip side, this can also make you a little bit too much complaining about or fault finding in others and unnecessarily creating competition where it may not exist. Sometimes your colleagues at work can also give you more challenges. You may also face challenges connected to your bosses or your supervisors. So be careful with this placement. This is a good placement to overcome competition, to be able to get easy loans, but challenges with debts can also occur over a period of time. Unnecessarily getting into court cases because of your tendency to read the competition wrong, but you may be able to overcome those court cases. There will be more wins on your side. Your ability to win over competition will be high. However, this can also bring you a very good perspective of how to be able to do well in competitive situations, in competitions, sitting for competitive exams, and through the intellectual capability of Mercury and the unusual means of Rahu, the tactful means of Rahu, to be able to be prepared to overcome competition and then score over it and to get more wins rather than losses. Now when Mercury goes in the 7th house from Rahu, this is a pretty balanced placement because Rahu and Mercury are 1-7 from each other or 7-7 from each other. So any planet which is 7th from the other planet uses the energy of the planet to how to use that energy of the planet in their relations, in their connection, in their teamwork, in their ability to be able to do business with others, to keep a balance in relationship, also gets connected to your married life or to have partnerships with people even with the opposite gender. However, because Rahu is a planet of tact, shrewdness, unusual means, unusual effort, unorthodox relations, many times your ability to be able to read a person right, to be able to get your decision making right, to be able to be practical, may be forced by the material gains that the person may bring. So sometimes you become too practical rather than emotional, and then you look at whether this relation will truly serve me, whether this relationship is really good for me, and you are on one side trying to balance between the logical decision making and the emotional decision making on the other. So if the balance goes even one side a little bit more tilted, then you may feel that emotionally you are at a loss, you are in a relationship which is a little cold relationship. Though on paper this may look good, Your relationship may be matching socially, the social strata may be good. On the service side, you and the other person may be more or less on the even keel, but on the emotional side there may be more imbalance. So with this placement, be a little careful the kind of decision making you do in terms of what relations you get into, what partnerships you get into, how you treat the other people who you work on in a team's relationship, on a team basis, on a day-to-day basis, because this on a day-to-day basis may make you either be able to get to know the person, the opposite person immediately within seconds, or sometimes to be completely misleading people and making wrong decisions in how you partner with people on a day-to-day basis. Now when Mercury goes 8th from Rahu, what is the planet's placement 8th from any other planet? Usually the planet which is placed 8th from the other planet will use the energy of the planet to overcome transformations or go through transformations, overcome obstacles or go through obstacles, to be able to go through sudden events or face sudden events using the energy of the planet. So when Mercury goes 8th from Rahu, Rahu is the planet of unusual means, suddenness, unusual effort, unorthodox relationships also, and innovation beyond the boundaries of the ethical and the moral conduct as well. So when Mercury goes 8th from Rahu, Mercury uses its intellectual capability, the logical, the thought through decision making, educated decision making, combined with unusual means, unusual effort, tact, shrewdness, the hunger and greed of Rahu. And so many times the person may be unnecessarily get into trouble because of the 8th house effect. So sometimes only after many obstacles, challenges, issues, problems, overcoming that and then understanding what the situation is, after many misreading of situations and then becoming wiser because of you have learned it the wrong way, and then through the transformation being wise enough to be able to use this energy well. However, after going through all the ups and downs, the obstacles, then the person truly learns that how I should be able to use the energy of Rahu for more longevity in gains, longevity in character, longevity in also how the person will be able to use the intellectual capability to be able to overcome issues and challenges, and even in the most trying of circumstances where suddenly issues come up, this person is very well placed to be able to overcome those obstacles, those challenges, those problems as well. But sometimes this can also bring in unnecessarily challenge of in certain rare occasions where your mindset, how your mind works, or your nervous capability may also go down the hill over a period of time, especially with age. So with this placement, I have also seen people who go through Alzheimer's late in life, but compared to others, earlier onset of Alzheimer's also, or there may be something related to the nerves, or sudden anger, or sudden nervous palpitations, nervous breakdowns also, depressions also, where the person may be prone to. So if your Mercury 8th from Rahu, be a little careful how you take care of your mental health, your emotional health, because this could be the highest energy of transformation to your gains but also to your detriment. Now what is the placement of Mercury 9th from Rahu? When a planet goes 9th from any other planet, the capability of the planet when it is 9th from the other planet to be able to use the energy of the planet for higher learning, for higher qualification, learning through experiences, learning from gurus, and learning with or dealing with people across boundaries, national boundaries also, going far and wide to learn through those experiences is enhanced. So when Mercury goes 9th from Rahu, especially because Rahu is also the Malecha, the foreigner, so the ability of the person to be able to go beyond the means, because Rahu is also foreign lands, Rahu is also beyond means, or unusual means, unusual effort, going out of the boundary to be able to get gains. So when Mercury goes 9th from Rahu, Mercury extracts the energy of Rahu of unusual means, unusual effort, foreign lands, and then to be able to get the higher learning. So this is a very good placement to get very good qualification and easier than others. Usually this is a very, very intelligent person. Usually with this placement, people can become engineers, people go into IT. Sometimes with this placement, in some situation, the person can also be very, very good. In one subject, they will be excellent. If they are good at math, they can be a mathematical prodigy. If they are good in physics, they can be excellent there. as long as they're able to balance the energy and use it to your advantage. Because this is also energy where sometimes where you're dealing with people across cultures, you get misled, you go in a different direction, qualification based gains, and in fact you go on a tangent where you can end up in different kinds of associations with people which can take you far away and wide away from your national boundaries, but on a different tangent, moving away from the qualifications you have done. With many people with this placement, I've seen they are very qualified, but they get into business more than the others. So if you're able to use the energy well, learn from your experiences, the situations that this placement can take you through, and then gain a logical perspective over a period of time, this can make you bring you very good gains working with foreigners, working across the land, using your intellectual capability and your educational qualification to be able to extract the maximum gains from learning that any placement can bring. Now when Mercury goes in the 10th house from Rahu, any planet which is 10th from any other planet will use the energy of the planet to extract the energy to help in how you are able to use the energy in your work arena, in your career, how you are able to work with the authority at work, as supervisors at work, what is your reputation at work, and how dedicated and disciplined you are in working with others, what is your rapport or equation with higher ups. So when Mercury goes 10th from Rahu, Mercury extracts or uses the energy of Rahu in your career, in your work arena. So many times with this placement, the person will end up either doing engineering or IT or something connected to working in a certain capacity where you end up working in a foreign organization, in foreign lands, or even if you are working in your country of birth, but working in some way directly or indirectly with foreign consultants, foreign clients, foreign companies, or MNCs, multinational corporations. So this is that energy. On the other hand, this can also, in certain situations where you're not working for foreign clients or foreign companies, you work in an industry which is little unusual, which is little out of the box, which can be an innovative industry. It can also be a green industry or green offshoot or whatever you call it, or upcoming industry, or a startup also, where you start off in a different tangent or think in an innovative way and then use that energy, that experience to be able to gain in your career. However, usually you will also find the higher up that you work with also a little unusual. Either they are very highly qualified, or they could be school dropouts who started something on their own and then they want to work with you. So there is definitely something unusual, something foreign, something very different about your supervisors and who you work with. The other thing is your equation with supervisors may also change. One manager that you work with and suddenly the manager changes and it's a sea change, complete change of scenario. It's like almost working for a different department, different team, or a different organization. How the sea change of the mannerism of how the supervisors deal with you will bring. With one manager you will hit off so very well, it will be as if at working from home or working at home or working with somebody who you've known for long, or suddenly the manager changes and you just think that, do I ever know this person? Will I ever get along with this person? I'm trying to put in so much effort, nothing is come by, where things are working out. So this is a high energy placement surely, but a lot of hard work is required to be able to deal with those kinds of unusual situations, sudden expectations from you, higher expectations from you, higher rewards also, material rewards also. But through working over a period of time, dealing with unusual situations with supervisors and at work, then making it very big. This has the capability of making you go very quickly through the ranks, working over other people and ending up at very high designation very quickly. So use this energy very well and don't push the boundaries of ethics too much. Don't try too much shortcuts, because then you will be caught. Now when Mercury goes 11th from Rahu, any planet which goes 11th from another planet will use the energy of the planet for its social network, social connections, how you are able to look at the larger society, societal responsibilities, how you work with masses, how you are able to use your intellectual capability, your education capability to be able to do more for masses, for large organizations, for large causes. And this is also a very strong placement where you are able to use the energy or the greed of Rahu to be able to get your wishes and desires fulfilled. Remember, the 11th house is an Upachaya house. It gives you results over a period of time. However, the hunger and greed of Rahu is not ready to be patient. Mercury is a planet of logic, practicality, strong decision making, communication. So this can also give you very unusual communication. This can also bring you a different logical perspective and very thoughtful, practical orientation to be able to look at how you can provide solutions. So usually these people will bring in a lot of practicality to the solutions for masses. If they're working in IT companies, these people may be the testers, the people who are the final say in whether a product should go through, a software should go through, a certain service should go through. And these people bring in a lot of innovation, how the masses should be served, how society should be served. Usually these people will also have friends who are from different social background, different social connection. So you may have some friend who is very quiet, who is very introvert, and you have some other friends who are completely mad, who are extrovert, who will push all the boundaries of even ethics, the way they conduct themselves. So this is a person who has 2 feet in 2 different boats. On one side, they are playful, they are fun loving, they break the shackles of society but also want to do more for society, will have friends in different places, different kinds of friends also, and over a period of time huge gains come to them and almost all their wishes and desires are met. But as long as they are able to use the energy or the unusual means, the unusual effort energies of Rahu well, combined with the intellectual capability of Mercury. Now what happens when Mercury is in the 12th house from Rahu and Rahu is in the 2nd house from Mercury? So here, this is a placement where the planet which is 12th from the other planet uses the energy of the planet to overcome losses, overcome challenges, overcome waste and excess. And the other planet, here we are talking about Rahu going in the 2nd house from Mercury, will use the energy of Mercury and unusual means and unusual effort to make livelihood, to make gains. So this is a strong placement where Mercury will use the intellectual capability, intellectual tact, the communication skills to be able to overcome challenges and problems and keep losses at bay and put in lesser effort to be able to do more. So this is a very practical placement. The person is always trying how I can do less to be able to get more. So this is a person who likes to work smart rather than hard working. However, because of Mercury being placed in the 12th house from Rahu, and we know that Mercury doesn't do very well in the 12th house, Mercury gets debilitated in the sign of Pisces, which is 12th house energy. So here many times you may think that you're making a logical decision, a very practical decision, but you may be being misled by the energy of Rahu, either for materialistic gains or relationship oriented gains. And you may find that the effort that you're putting in relations, the effort that you're putting in work, the effort that you're putting in your business, the effort that you're putting in your service may go waste initially, and your efforts may not bring gains to you and they may not be good for you, they will not come to fruition. And over a period of time you learn from your mistakes, from your experiences, from the waste and excess of the 12th house, and after overcoming, after doing more, after giving up, after suffering through the reign of Rahu ruling over Mercury for material gains, for livelihood, for bank balance, then you learn that you have to balance between the misleading capability of Rahu, trying to get more gains, trying to get more material gains, but trying to keep the expenses at bay, the waste and excess at bay. So here you need to balance between how you're able to use the energies between Rahu and Mercury to be able to make more logical decisions and to be able to take more practical decisions rather than trying to take shortcuts. Sometimes the long way, the long route will also help you over a period of time to get you gains rather than trying to cut through some ethical boundaries to be able to make gains. However, this is also a placement where the creativity of the person may be very, very high, and in some unusual situation the person can also be very spiritual. How they are able to see the waste and excess, and many times these people may end up in foreign lands, working for foreign clients, but their mind and soul may always be back home, wanting to go back, and sometimes questioning, what am I doing here, what am I doing in this place, especially when they go through tough times. However, this is a good placement of the person after gaining a lot from society, maybe over a period of time after going through initial losses, will have a lot of strong legacy to be able to give back through the example and through also their earnings. So friends, now that we have seen how Mercury's placement in 12 different houses from Rahu can bring you different results, can bring you different potentials, can also promise you different kinds of opportunities for you, please do look into in which house Mercury is placed from Rahu, which sign it is placed in, whether it is placed in some doshas and yogas, because that can also bring in your own flavor. So friends, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me, the link given below. Until some other time with some other video, this is your friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.